to do some fun pumpkin facts. So pumpkins are native to North, Central, and South America. So they are unique to us. They were first grown for edible seeds. Now that's a popular thing that is actually coming back now, that people like to roast pumpkin seeds and eat them, but that was actually their first purpose, was to eat the seeds. Pilgrims are credited with discovering the values of pumpkins, and their use spread. So once they got a taste for pumpkin, then those seeds were shared in Europe, and that use spread all over. Pumpkins have been cultivated for over 5,000 years, so they've been a valuable crop for a long, long time. Pumpkins were an important food staple until World War II. So we ate a lot of pumpkins. Now we just think about pumpkins as pumpkin pie a lot of times, but they became, after World War II, kind of a symbol of bounty. That's why we decorate with pumpkins in the fall, because after World War II, we got refrigeration. So it became that symbol of bounty. You could set your pumpkin out on the porch as decor, saying basically, I don't need to eat this anymore. I have refrigeration. And food keeps differently. And that's why pumpkins were a valuable food source for people and also for livestock, is because they would keep so long as they don't get frozen. Once they freeze, they're high water content and they pretty much melt. Some other pumpkin facts: they're very nutritious, so that edibility, they're high in potassium and vitamin A. And then I have not looked yet to see if there are any new records this year, but the last record was 2018. The US record pumpkin was 2,528 pounds, and that was grown in New Hampshire. The world record pumpkin was grown in 2016, and that was over 2,600 pounds, grown in Belgium. So if you have great aspirations of growing the world record pumpkin here in Missouri, I'm going to dash your hopes. We get too hot here in the summertime to be very successful on those very large pumpkins. We need cooler temperatures, which is why most of those record-breaking pumpkins are grown in northern states. Pumpkins are about 90% water. They are members of the cucurbit family, and that includes all our vining crops, so watermelon, cantaloupe, cucumbers. The flowers are also edible, so not just the pumpkins. And pumpkins are actually a fruit because they are containing those seeds. So some other pumpkin stats in 2018, which is the last Census of Agriculture data, the top pumpkin growing states, Illinois, our neighboring state, is the #1 by pretty much far and away. And the reality of that is because Illinois grows 90 to 95% of all the processing pumpkins. So those are the pumpkins. If you buy a can of pumpkin pie or you eat a pumpkin pie, most likely it was grown in Illinois, and it's because the processing plant is there. They not only have good soils to grow, but the processing plants are headquartered in Illinois. Illinois is followed by Pennsylvania, New York, Indiana, Michigan, and Texas. So in 2020, there were harvested over 66,000 acres with $194 million in value. 180 of that is in fresh market, so basically the decoration market, quite honestly, and the 14 million in processing. And just real quick, cucurbit family and taxonomy. What's the difference between a pumpkin and a squash? Those terms are actually interchangeable. You can be perfectly correct if you called everything in this picture a squash. Or a pumpkin, though, typically we think of it as round and orange. However, you could still get away with calling pretty much everything in that picture as a pumpkin also. There are 4 species of cucurbits. They're classified by their stem structure and the point that they don't normally cross-pollinate. So we have Cucurbita machata, Cucurbita mixta, Cucurbita pepo, and Cucurbita maxima. And just because I have to provide the education on what we actually eat in pie pumpkins, they are actually canned pumpkins. And you can see those in these fields. My aunt lives in Illinois and took pictures of some commercial pumpkin harvest near where she lived. So you can see they are very mechanical and windrow those pumpkins, pick them up, and they go in a semi to the processing plant. So think about that when you're out looking to purchase some pumpkins, and if you want something to eat, there are lots of good edible varieties, but don't eat your jack-o'-lantern.